Hey everyone, today we're going to do a video on the Bambu Lab P1S and in particular the Z-axis homing failure. Now I'm sure many of you have seen this on your little screen or very similar where it just keep thinking it was a touchscreen. It just does not home properly. It won't print, it won't auto calibrate. When you try to auto calibrate it, it'll get to say 24% and then it'll go back to 0. Now in Bambu Wiki it gives you ideas of what it actually could be. One of them is poop down in the hole where the rods go and around the bearings. Another possible reason is the bearing have been unseated under there and also up under here, and also the rod at the back. And a bizarre reason that the bed plate hasn't been put on properly, or the nozzle itself is a problem with that. Now I've gone through all of these problems systematically and neither of them have been the problem through a process of elimination. So I've been on to Bambu Lab Support Centre and I must say they are fantastic, really good here in Australia anyway. I don't know, I've read numerous times where people don't think highly of Bambu Support Centre, but here in Australia, really good. So they've kindly sent me out free of charge a new Z-axis motor, which they've determined is the problem from me sending in photos and videos. So there it is there, the Z-axis motor. So there's a bit of a process in removing and installing this new one, but that's what the video is about. I'm going to walk you through it and show you how it's done, and hopefully by the end of it that I won't see that wretched message on the screen, Z-axis failed to home. Alright, so let's get stuck into it. Alright, so the first thing we have to do is get this bed plate down to the bottom of the printer. Now because it won't home properly, it's not going to get it down, and there's the code that it's throwing up, and I think that's actually a different code. That's one for the sensor, but we're still going to replace the Z motor itself. So to get this bed plate down to the bottom, because we have to lock it in with the screws, travel screws so to speak, we have to tip it on its side and manually get that bed plate down there. So have to obviously take the AMS off, and then we're going to turn the power off. Now if you see a whole lot of rocking and rolling going on, or some weird noises, that's because I've got the other printer in operation at the moment, so just ignore that. Alright, so I'm going to turn the printer off, disconnect the power cord, the PFTE or PTFE cord from the AMS. I always get it mixed up, so just going to take some filament out. At the back there I've just disconnected the PFT tube, so nothing holding the AMS in place now. I'm going to take the top glass cover off the printer. Alright, now I've left the front front door on, so just going to put my hand there like that, lay it on its side. Now underneath here you have like a pulley system, And you can see the belts. One belt there, or the same belt, just all connected, another one up here. Now they will, by turning them or pulling on them, it'll lower the bed plate. So there's the bed plate there, we want it down here. So I'm just going to very slowly move the belt, and you can see it progressively lowering. So it's all the way down, so it's popping the printer upright again, opening that front door. Now you would have got 3 long screws that came with it, and they go in there. You can see still signified by the red arrow in there, and one up the back as well. Oh, the camera's gone a bit wonky and it's very dark in there. There's the one red arrow there, and on the left hand side there's one there. So there's a hole there and a hole where I've just put the screws. So I'm just going to pop them in. Alright, so they're in. Next step is turn the printer around, and we need to take this back panel off. So we're going to need to remove everything on there. Now there's quite a few bolts to undo, so just going to disconnect these cables. There's a 4-pin and a 6-pin, so when you go to put them back in, they only go in one way. Now the design of this, the little tab that you press in, is really weird. It's on the inside, but you get it. Okay. Taking this one out first. Now most of these screws are the same size, bar a couple. So just take note, the ones that are a different size, take note of where you pull them out off, just so you know where they go back into. Alright, now you're meant to disconnect this tube, but I find it a real pain in the ass to do so from this couplet type of thing, so I'm just going to leave it dangle there. Alright, now we'll just undo all these other screws on the back panel. I'll start at the bottom. Okay, most of the screws are very tiny, don't know if you can see that very well on the camera, but very small. So now I myself couldn't find anything on YouTube, that's why on how to replace this motor, so that's why I've decided to post it now. Yes, it is on Bambu Wiki, and that's how I've learnt to do it, but sometimes it's just easier to watch somebody do it, and I'm more of a practical person than a reader. Now these 2 screws on the buffer, I think it is, are slightly longer than the other ones, so I'll remember that they go in there. So actually when I take that out, I'll put them in there so I know that they belong with this piece, the spool holder, buffer, whatever. Okay, so I'm just slotting them back into the holes there so I know where they belong. Okay, so I'll just pop him over there. Okay, now that should just pop straight off. Okay, and just like that it does. Now you just... Alright, what I'm going to do, I've disconnected it from the tool head, and take it out of there, and I've just taken it out, the whole kit and caboodle like that. Now obviously that's not the proper way to do it, but we're doing it. Okay, so there's the inside of the rear of the printer. Now we have a bit of wiring to deal with, and there is the motor itself, just there. Okay, so now we need to start disconnecting a few things. So you'll see this, it's called a ferrite casing. A lot of my RC aeroplanes have these. And they got magnets inside. Now there's 3 of them in here. The one we want, looking at it, is on the bottom left over this side. So we need to unplug the motor from the motherboard, so to speak. Get your long nose pliers, just get in there, get a good grip and unplug it. Just be gentle, it might need a little bit of a wiggle. So remember, it's the bottom left one. That's what we're dealing with here. Now, the sun's really glary, but here's what it is. Now there's little nibs, so to speak, over here. Try and get some more light in there. One there, and it just opens up like that. It's just a protective thing, and you can see there's little magnets in there. So just close that, put it aside, because we're going to need that when we reconnect. Now we've got to find out how all that wiring, where's it feed to, and there's a lot connected here. Okay, so at the back it's like a little wiring. Come on baby, you can come out, I don't mind. Okay, there we go, we have that out there. Now it feeds all along here. This is the wiring here. So behind this major cord, the same again, just little clips. A little awkward. Just be careful not to disconnect any other type of wiring. So I think that's like, seems to be like a ground wire. We don't want to interfere with that. Okay, we've got that. Now to the next step. Okay, next step is we have to turn the printer upside down, so uphand it. Now it is recommended to take the display screen off, because obviously it sits slightly higher than the top of the printer, and it'll cause damage. But what I've done is I've just put the display over the edge of my workspace there, so there's no need to disconnect it, just to save a bit of time and hassle. So what we have to do now is, there's a tension spring just here. We need to press down and move that out. But this screw here, tension screw for the belt. Okay, so we need to here, but right here is the tension screw for the belt. So we just need to loosen that. We're not removing it completely. So we've loosened that. Now this spring, what you want to do is just push it down across and then let it come over and just rest against the belt there. Now 4 screws for the motor, a little bit dark to see. There's one there, one here on the side of the belt, one in there, and another one there. Now you have to be careful, so not at this stage, or you have to be careful at any stage, safety first. Take those screws, put them aside. Now they're different to the screws that I pulled. I've got that back cover off, so keep them separate. Third one, now you have to be careful on the last screw, because the printer is upside down and the motor, gravity is just going to make it fall. So you just want to slip your hand underneath this side where the back panel's not there and hold the bottom side off the motor. Undo that, put that screw aside with the others. Now it's going to fall through, just let it fall through like that, and voila, we have that Z-axis motor removed. Now it's one of those things, looks alright on the outside, but obviously she's buggered on the inside, or some kind of electrical componentry not marrying up in there. So put that one over there, we get the new one. Now you just want to make sure that the wiring circuitry where it plugs into the new motor is facing outwards to the rear panel. So again, just pop it up in there, make sure the belt goes on the other side spindle. Get your screws ready, just get one in there, and then we can get the others in there. It's just to save it from falling down. And we have to just adjust this belt again, make sure it's on that spindle properly. Okay, so that's held in there nice and tight, so I can put the remaining screws in. Okay, tension or torsion screw, I think they call it, spring back into place. So that's automatically made that belt tight. So I didn't put that belt into place properly. You want to make sure that belt is about halfway up on that spindle, the belt's not sitting all the way down or all the way up. Make sure it's under that little lip. Do up this tension screw again. Make sure those belts seam nice and tight. That screw doesn't look like it's seated properly to me, so just loosen it a bit. So now we're going to flip the printer back over. Flip it around this way, because before I go putting everything back together, I want to make sure everything's moving properly. So we're going to remove these homing screws or locking screws, whatever you may want to call them. Okay, that's two done. Now, just to make sure that bed will rise properly by moving, so we need to tilt the printer over again. Okay, we just want to grab hold of this belt again, move that belt and make sure it's moving the bed plate, and as I'm moving, again one-handed, you can see that bed plate rising as I'm moving the belt up and down. Okay, she's all hunky-dory. Okay, now we have to route this wiring back into place. Now, just whilst the printer's upright, you can see the LCD, the display, how it sits up just slightly higher than the top of the printer. That was why you needed to remove it, but like I said, I let it hang over the edge. Anyway, so I'm just going to reroute this wiring back through those two holders there, reroute it back up through there. I'm going to get this ferrite casing, put the casing on and plug it back into there. Remember, it's the one on the farthest left, it's the only one that's vacant, so it's the only one that can be plugged into. Okay, so I'll do that. Pop this back panel on. Now, it's advisable, once you've got that panel off, got a little air blower, give it a bit of a blow out. Okay, and the process is the same of taking it off, just reversal. So I'll get that back on. Now, one little bit of advice, there are two, like, I don't know, little extruded bits here. They just stick out a little bit more one either side here where the belts are. Now it's for that hole there and that hole. Now when you put it on, you just have to slide the panel onto there. But first I'm going to just feed this PTFE or PFTE. Oh, actually no, I'll do it after it. Like that. Now you can see that's just slotted in there. Now it's sitting there okay. Alright, so now it's just a process of putting all the screws back in again. So I'm not going to bore you with that, so I'll get all this put back together, this rear panel on and everything bolted on as it should be, and then we'll go and test it to see if it's a successful fix. Okay Ron, so it's all been put back together, that rear panel, everything's plugged in. All I have to do now is turn it on, make sure everything's sweet. Okay, power's on, it hasn't gone kaboom, so far so good. As usual, 26 minutes. Now, auto calibration, when the problem was existing, it would get up to 24% and then revert back to 0. So it is a bit of a lengthy process, so I'm not going to bore you with that, so just leave it here for now and wait. Alright, so wait for this to work its magic and we'll get back to you and see if it's been all worth the while. Okay, so the auto calibration went right through to 100% and was a complete success. So let's go and try and re-home. So we're going to press yes, home it now. Okay, well there you go, ladies and gentlemen, cats and dogs, we have success, and very happy about that. And that is how you replace the Z motor in the Bambu Lab P1S and get rid of that pesky Z motor stuck or Z axis failed to home. At first it can be a little bit daunting to undertake these repairs, but in reality it's not. Just take your time, be aware of what you take out, where it actually goes back. Everything's just a reversal of things, of everything. And if you're not sure of it, go to Bambu Wiki and read about it. But I hope you've learned something today and have enjoyed the video, and if you have, please give a thumbs up, press that like button down below, always goes a long way and it's always much appreciated.